You have to do it, Liz. Samantha Brown smiled as she looked at me from the stairs above. Losers need to be shown their place on the food chain, her trusty lieutenant, Jessica Peters, added as she smiled innocently at me. They can't and will not be friends with a cheerleader. If you want to be one of us, she paused as she pointed at all of them, you can't hang out with him, she added, spitting out the word him like it was sour in her mouth. They were talking about Frank. For my initiation, I said, finally finding my voice. You want me to stop hanging out with Frank? I asked. Why Frank? How could I stop hanging out with Frank? Yes, Samantha replied in a bored voice as she admired her perfectly manicured nails. What do you even have to lose anyway? Jessica asked. He's not even a looker with those big specs and weird fashion sense. He's the guy that has always been there for me. I wanted to yell at her, but I was too scared to voice my opinions. Opinions that need to be voiced. But a dark thought crossed my mind for a shadow of a second. Stop hanging out with Frank and you can become popular. He'd understand why I had to do this. He should understand. It's not every day a sophomore can join the team. Okay, I muttered in a low voice. What? Samantha asked. I'll do it, I blurted out against my better judgment. Lizabeth? You're crying. What can I do? He asked me. Nothing, I mumbled out. Lizabeth, stop crying. Taking in a deep breath, I paused. I need to do this as fast as I could. Like ripping off a band-aid. Painless and clean. My body tensed as Frank loosened his arms, feeling the change in my demeanor. Elizabeth? This needs to end, Frank. Now. What needs to end? He asked, confusion apparent in his voice. This, I yelled, shrugging out of his arms. U.S. We need to end. Why? He asked with a pained expression on his face. We just need to, okay? No. No? We can't end this, Liz, he replied in a determined tone as he came and stood next to me, placing both his hands on either side of my shoulders. Liz, you don't want to end this. We've been friends for 8 years, he added, his green eyes staring intently into mine, begging me, pleading with me, tugging at my heart. I put on a cold face. And that's 6 years too long for me, Frank. Who's making you say these things? No one. No one is. I've just realized it myself that this friendship is not doing me any good. The words were tearing me up inside, cutting my being and serving it with a side of bitchy. This is the one time you're bringing this up. What happened? Like I said, Frank, I grew up. I think it's time you stopped obsessing about Star Wars and grow up too. I wanted to take my words back instantly when I saw the hurt look on his face. But I knew that I was almost there. It's done, Frank. We're done, I muttered in a low voice. Fine. He was looking at me as if I had grown an extra head. I couldn't blame him. I wasn't recognizing myself too. I'm not going to grovel. He got up, dusted off his jeans and started towards the window to my bedroom. I hope you'll have a happy life, he added as he glanced back at me, waiting for me to change my mind and stop him. But it never came. I'll miss you. The next sound was that of my bedroom door slamming behind him. 2 years later. Class, we have a new student, she addressed. Introduce yourself, young man. I continued to stare at Ally, wondering what had gotten her so wide-eyed. Hey, someone said. The voice sounded alluring and familiar, but I didn't look up, trying to get Ally to relax. My name's Taylor. Taylor Blackstone. Taylor Blackstone? All the available air in the room was sucked out as I looked up and my eyes locked with the most familiar green eyes that stared back at me. It was him. I would know those eyes anywhere. Those eyes that had always stared at me with kindness. Those eyes that I had always gone to bed thinking about ever since I developed feelings for him. Mesmerized, I watched him, not breaking out of his gaze. Then, as fast as it had happened, his eyes hardened as he looked away from me, breaking his spell as he took the room in. Jane Austen's most infamous novel, Pride and Prejudice, was first published in 1813. The novel was well received by the citizens of Austen's age as it has all the fine details of writing. There is suspense, drama, unrequited love, pride and prejudices. The title of the novel perfectly depicts the story. The novel, as everyone knows, is on the life of Elizabeth Bennet and her family. She was courted both by Mr. Collins and Mr. Darcy, who she initially turned down. She turned down Mr. Collins due to the fact that she felt nothing for him. Mr. Darcy was turned down because of many factors. One was his own fault. Mr. Darcy was prejudiced against her family and social standing. He assumed with no firm basis that everyone was after his money. The other factor was Mr. Wickham's deceit. Elizabeth also had too much pride. The novel was well written and has given me insight into life in the 19th century. I found the fact that Elizabeth Bennet was easily swayed against her better judgment, believing Mr. Wickham so easily and deciding against the man she loved, was foolish and stupid. I paused as I thought back on the words I'd just read. I'd written it with the knowledge that it wouldn't come back to bite me. It obviously did. Frank was sitting there and I'd just incriminated myself and become a hypocrite. I had done what Elizabeth Bennet had done. I had chosen against Frank, like Elizabeth choosing against Darcy. I had been made to shut him out, to deny the boy I loved. Samantha had been my Wickham. I tore my eyes away from my notes and looked at Frank. He had on a cold and guarded expression, like he was wishing that I'd just disappear from the face of the earth. I continued to stare at him, trying to communicate my thoughts, begging for his forgiveness, hoping he felt my regret and sorrow. But his expression didn't falter as his gaze burned into me. Elizabeth? Ms. Jacobs's words echoed in my ears, pulling me back to reality. Is that all? Erg. Yes, Ms. Jacobs, I answered as I tore my eyes away from Frank. I still had 2 pages on my speech, but I couldn't go on. Not with Frank in front of me and clearly wishing for my downfall. Okay then. Shorter than I was expecting, but okay. Anyone wants to add something? She asked as I headed back to my seat. Yes, Mr. Blackstone, the words echoed in my ears as I froze halfway to my desk. I just want to say that I completely agree with Elizabeth. His voice echoed in the small expanse of the classroom. My heart jumped slightly when he said my name. I loathe people that don't have a backbone and are unwilling to stand up for their beliefs or feelings. I also hate hypocrites. Frank's voice bit into my ears as each word hit me like a blow.